That's our solarium.
Oh, wow. Wow. And you picked it for sun exposure, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the mountain ridge runs east and west, so you have a south-facing slope for agriculture. I would say for 6 or 7 years, I've called us self-sufficient. Between now and October, we eat nearly completely from our land. We have over 100 fruit and nut trees. This is our apple terrace. You can see the gomi berries. It's a nitrogen-fixing bush. According to permaculture principles, you put nitrogen-fixing bushes in between the trees, so there's succession planting. So you have big oaks and Doug firs behind to block the wind, and then you have your fruit and nut trees on another level, and then below that you have berry bushes, and then on the ground you have vegetables. So you're using all of the sun. Well, come on in, I'll show you our community hall. Yeah, it really changed. When I built this building, we had a place. It became a community after we built this. You know, I think 20 years ago, if you were looking to do this, people kind of look at you funny, like you were in a cult. Now, no matter where I go, nearly everyone is inspired. I bet you 8 out of 10 people say, "Oh my God, I would love to live off the land." We worried about fire every single year. There was 100 years of fuel built up. It's been 100 years since the last fire. Ugh, fire is heartbreaking. Not only just less so about losing a bunch of stuff, but the vitality and all the life and the green lush rainforest being burnt up. Our update on the Smith River Complex fire. We are the Red Square, 96,000 acres. It started with lightning on the 16th, and it moved so fast. We had no time to prepare in any way. The entire property was in flames. We lost the Hygge Hall, our beautiful community hall. The A-frame is gone. We lost the lodge.
These beams are huge.
Yeah, I had a mill at the time, so even the dimensional lumber I milled from logs on the property.
3 stories then.
Yeah, 3.5, really.
Very first person here is the captain.
All of my stuff like pretty much crammed in here, you know.
Everything on top of the mountain is gone. We lost thousands of hours of intention and creativity and blood, sweat, and tears. And it's going to take me a while to mourn.
Something fell.
Because it was all burnt up there. It's all sliding. Nothing to hold the hillside up. That's our road, right here. Just
Road
frost.
closed. You see? What's that sign saying?
Redwood cutting prohibited in this area. Wow.
driving in, that's where the fire was really at its worst. It really looks like the apocalypse driving in some of those spots.
It's got to be around here. There's got to be a bridge.
That doesn't look like a driveway.
Oh, there's a smiley face. The smiley face is still there.
Right.
The fire rushed and just tore a path directly towards here, and then it stopped. And then it was spotty fires and became a ground fire.
There it is. Oh, it's still
Still
there. Still up.
Still up, dude. Oh, okay. So the Earthship is up, man.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny the things that fire spares? You know, 100-foot high wall of flames in places here.
Well, the Hobbit House burnt, but it stayed.
Of course, we built the Hobbit Hole to withstand anything. Yeah, the real shocker was that all the buildings that have tile mosaics on the outside survived.
Dan? Wow, you've already rebuilt this.
You have a building together.
Dan, you're quick.
I was just starting for another tile mosaic. Can you tell what it is?
Phoenix Rising?
It's the phoenix rising from the ashes, yeah. Yeah, we went through all the rubble up at the top, and they were in terrible shape, but we salvaged just enough tile up there to put all this together.
So this is literally from the ashes. This tile's from...
It is literally from the ashes, yeah. I'm hoping to actually get it finished today.
Really?
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
This is all new? This
Yeah.
building? Yeah. I mean, you did this in what? In a couple months?
2 months, yeah. We've been working sun up to sundown to get things, you know, in September when we were able to be here and start the process, you just had the feeling in September that the rains are coming. Winter, and this is rainforest. 100 inches of rain we get per year, and to have downpours and no roof, you know, no stove, no place to cook. So yeah, it's been sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
Pretty much every day. So we're starting to get on our feet with the barn lumber that Jim gave us. We built a whole platform, and yeah, we've got a community kitchen that's coming together. It was all recycled materials. A buddy of mine brought a bunch of old barn wood. Somebody took down their barn. It's really all pieced together. So much of it came from the dark recesses of people's garage or their backyard. Well, you can see that, like, scrap pieces of plywood. and we got, you know, 50-cent oops paint. So they're different colors, and like this was just some plank wood from someone's garage. In fact, someone asked me did it come weathered like that? I guess that's a thing. You can buy it weathered. I said, no, this is the real thing. We didn't buy it full weathered. In fact, this wonderful woman, she drove from South Dakota with a U-Haul full of stuff. And she brought us bunk beds. And I'm like, we don't have a place to put bunk beds. But we used the wood of the bunk beds behind the bookshelves here. So we really found a place for just about everything.
And this wood here is from...
Yeah, you know, it's, again, metaphorically, some of the dead trees from the burn. A buddy of mine came with a mill and milled up all of this wood for the shelves.
So when trees burn, some of the wood doesn't carbonize completely.
No, the wood's usually pretty good. It's just the bark that burns. Yeah, and it kills the tree if the burn goes all the way around the trunk a couple feet up, the cambium, then it's going to die. So we felled a couple of the dead trees and made a nice bookshelf.
Beautiful wood, actually.
Yeah, we even have some books. Let me put this in the cold, and then it should last, and I'll cover it.
Yeah, the front's just plywood, huh?
Yeah, it's just plywood.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the fun things that survived our cob oven.
It got blackened, or was that already like this?
It was already like that
so
from
it
smoke.
just, the fire burnt it probably, but didn't affect
Well, this
it.
building had to be 2,000 degrees, right? And you can tell on the back of the cob oven that it burned.
It burnt, but it's just not going to burn down.
Well, we had these decorative curly horns, so they all burnt. And some of the, it got damaged, but it's a perfectly functional stove, oven.
Funny how the materials that survive a fire, you're figuring it out.
Well, you'd think that a wood stove would survive a fire, but the wood stove that was in that building, the door must have been made of some different metal because it evaporated.
Do we see it, the path of the fire even? It's just right here. I mean, it's right, but it didn't get these buildings, but you see it got all your orchard, right?
Yeah, one of the real sad parts hurts my heart that, we'll see. All of the orchard trees, they look dead. I don't know if they're going to come back. When I came in, we literally drove through flames to get the dogs. And I saved whatever animals I could. Everything was in flames, so we didn't know if we were even going to get out. I put 2 sprinklers by the cabin here, which saved most of this. If I didn't set the sprinklers, that would have burnt to the ground. You can see where an ember came in. There used to be logs here that I set to divide the garden beds, and it just burnt the entire log down to the ground. They smoldered for a month and a half. Well, it's eerie. After the forest fire, there are stumps that will smolder for months, and it doesn't just go away.
So was it dangerous to be breathing in the air here afterward?
It wasn't great, but I wanted to get in as soon as possible and just start the rebirth process.
This building is so special. When we saw it, it was like, oh, it's still here. Such a relief. Did you have that feeling when you drove in the first time? Like, oh, this is here. Oh, this is not, like.
Exactly. That's exactly what you go, oh, that's there.
Oh my gosh, because you see now it's right above it. There's just burnt all right above it, and it stopped again.
Yeah, I mean, that's something to be really grateful for, is this fire could have been a lot worse. I mean, we lost 7 buildings, and some of our most important buildings, but this was a blessing, yeah.
And all the plants inside, everything, it didn't get too hot or anything, didn't?
Well, the parakeets survived. The parakeets did okay. And they were actually, the heat must have been very intense around this building because some of the passion fruit, the kiwi, they got charred, the ends of the trees, but the grapevines usually find a way through the roof outside the building, and they burnt, even inside the building, but the grapes it's time for them to hibernate. But, well, you can see right there, here the grapes are turning, but up there, the heat burnt all the leaves, or dried all the leaves.
Yeah. So it must have been hot in here.
It had to have been hot. What these kiwis, they're gonna be okay, but they burnt up by the top of by the roof. And so you can see that some of the PVC clear roofing melted back. Look at all of our limes.
It's so nice to see things that are just alive, right?
Yes.
You really appreciate it. Oh.
There's so many limes right now. But yeah, some of the heat melted the plastic roofing down. And one of the glass panels broke. Where did it go? Yeah. It's funny, since the fire, all the birds, like the outdoor birds, not parakeets, the sparrows, little finches, they're living in here now. They're like, it was dangerous out there. We'll take an indoor. Yeah, we lost a glass panel. But that and a few melted roofing was the real damage here.
Wow, not much. Is there someone back there?
Hello? Nope.
Oh, there's a bird in here. So people are still living here.
Yeah, we used to put people in the lodge. We had housing for people, but the lodge being gone, we've had a lot of people who wanted to come and stay for a month. And I don't, unless they're going to tent, we don't have a place to put them.
It's great to see the beams, They're still like the first day, yeah?
Yeah. And building this roof, well, you can imagine just by hand putting these big logs up here, rebuilding this roof would have been, not even possible. Yeah.
How much food can you grow in here? I mean, this is just a tiny fraction, right, of like...
Well, a surprising amount. Really reproduce a lot of food in here, even though it's also perennial based with the lime trees and the avocado trees. The fact that it doesn't frost in here and it doesn't freeze, this whole building was a really nice surprise. How functional and how productive it is was a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah. Right, you still see it. I mean, we're seeing
And
things growing. I mean, you're still probably getting stuff from here.
yeah,
Looks like there's even still tomatoes trying to come up. Wow. Right, with the frost outside, there's just so much sun on this hill too, right? Like this is a perfect place for this.
yeah.
Like you can just get food all year.
Pretty much all year. Yeah, we'll definitely eat greens here all year. Salads, winter salads.
Do you continue to plant a lot, or is a lot of it sort of?
Yeah, we have a new member, Akaria. She's a gardener extraordinaire.
Hi. Is this your bedroom?
So this is where I'm staying right now. We just got the windows up and the roof. So all of this was burned. Okay. So it had no roof. So we finished this. It had no windows. I put the windows in. We helped. And then instead of putting window here, we put the board so that there's a little bit of shade for the plants while I'm working with the plants. And so we just got this in and then caulking the whole place around. But yeah, just little by little, until I start building my own place.
So this is basically a greenhouse and your home.
Yeah.
So what are you working on right now?
I've been transplanting our starts. We have lots of spinach, arugula, basil. Right here is bib lettuce, some squash, and then some herbs drying. I have the fennel, and I have some thyme. And
this is drying?
rose petal. Yeah, this is drying.
Why is it drying? Are you making tea or something?
Just so that it's preserved, because there's so much. Instead of using the electric one, because we're so low on having the capability, we're drying it this way. So if you'd like, try a little bit. That's the fennel.
Nice.
And then I think there's some thyme under here too. This is nettles. You can use it for tea when it's dry like this.
So when you came, this was a kind of a bit of a ruin.
Yeah, I slept in my tent up on the top of the hill for almost 2 weeks because the windows weren't even in. We didn't have any of these windows in. And that was scary for me because I don't like working with glass. So putting these windows in, I was like, oh, you kept seeing myself like falling through the window or dropping it. And yesterday, literally, we just finished kind of patching that thing, but right now, this part here, that's where I had to cut all that off. And then we had to put new here. So it overlaps, so it's still drying, so it'll turn clear. Yeah, so that was finished yesterday, and then a few days ago I got the glass in and the caulking around the bottom and the top of it.
Because you can see the glass out there that just broke in the fire, maybe?
Oh yeah, that's cleaned up. So this was all glass. Because all this was gone. You can see how this is charred. See how this is? Oh yeah. All this is charred. All this is yeah. So this whole part was just, and you can see these were replaced because this was all burnt. So you can see the second one's over. But you can kind of see where it goes and all the glass. Yeah. So a lot of that glass has already been picked up.
So the fire got to this side.
Yep.
Not the other side.
And not this or any of this or these, but look at the tree. You can see the tree. Both of those trees are completely charred.
It's so strange, right?
Yes. And all those beds down there burnt. I'll be getting all of those together and built back up and just slowly but surely and so quickly. Because look how beautiful all these are coming back. And these caught the frost last night. And then I let the sun thaw them naturally and then I'll replant them.
Just the cycles of life here, right?
Yeah. This is the comfrey from the root that I've rerouted. And then just cutting a root and then letting it regrow. And then we'll plant those all around.
So hopefully bringing back more of the food that was lost.
Oh, yes.
So much was lost, right?
Yes and no, because the solarium.
The solarium's still providing a lot.
Oh, yes. Like I make big things of salads and greens and things every day.
So you have enough, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So beets and radishes and
And all this we planted outside.
because they're season. So the off-season things I'll plant in the solarium.
It's really warm in here.
Yeah, but this is why it's a great place to dry things too. And this isn't even summer.
Being off grid now, is there enough power? Is there enough?
I guess one of our solar panels, one of the 10 survived.
You're off grid though, right? So how are you surviving? Just with generators or?
Someone donated a portable power station. And so we run a generator and charge that up. That runs our refrigerator. Yeah, solar used to do everything for us. I hope to get off generators, but we'll see. One of the worst parts of most people just take it for granted that you have water flowing in your spigots, but our entire water system, the water tanks made of polyethylene, they essentially evaporate. All that's left are the bottoms where there was sedimenty mud, basically. I wish I could have restored the water quicker because maybe that would have saved more trees. But water tanks are a couple $1,000s each. We had to get new tanks and all the pipe. I mean, the amount of PVC pipe that was, it all burnt.
It just melted.
It melted and some of it just evaporates, yeah. It's a petroleum product and it catches on fire.
Wow, it looks like marshmallow.
Yeah.
So new water down here as well then, those tanks?
Yeah, local guy gifted us some extra water tanks immediately post-fire with no water and no building, no roof over your head. We were bathing in the creek up until October, washing dishes and washing clothes and bucketing up to bring buckets up. And it reminded me of my early days here where I think I looked it up and the average American household uses 235 gallons of water per day. I used to use a 5-gallon bucket every 3 days. So we went back to that. But yeah, this is one of the buildings that I couldn't believe survived. To the rescue, tile mosaics. If you can believe that this building survived because it has a tree growing through it. You know, one of the ways that these things burn is that embers, logs that are on fire, roll downhill.
So it really should have come in here.
Oh, it should have. I mean, here's a tree growing through the building, a maple tree. And why this building didn't burn, I have no idea. Well, all of these tile mosaics that some people say we spend too much, way too much time on.
Yeah, you didn't do it for fire retardant reasons.
It's just a maintenance-free surface, and we try to add some art.
And it's not going to burn.
And it doesn't burn.
Was this roof fine?
You can tell it's singed.
Oh yeah.
In a few places, but it did not burn, so. Yeah, you know, here you see, well, you can see how well I mulched. And all the mulch is gone and it burnt. Our almond trees I don't know. It's awfully snappy. Yeah.
Trunk looks.
It doesn't look that great.
No? Oh, well, way down. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got some black. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess
We'll
you have
see.
to wait, though. You can't, yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, we'll give life a chance. The fight is not over, right?
What happened with the Hobbit home? Did the fire go over? It looks like it. I mean, you see up above, it looks burnt.
Well, the fire spreads oftentimes through embers, especially on the downhill part. Embers come down and then they come up the hill.
So there probably was fire right on top of this.
Oh yeah,
It looks like it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and everything, the whole Hobbit Hole was completely on fire all around it.
Yeah, you see the burnt.
The fire was just a few months ago.
Yeah. Oh, Mom, and the inside is totally fine. Right? There's nothing inside that, I mean, is it singed? I can't tell. Maybe a little bit dark up top on the roof.
You think it was burning in here?
The roof, it burnt above us. Oh, yeah.
Glass is kind of cracked too.
Yeah, right? The heat and everything, you could see it kind of.
Well, of course, the Hobbit Hole will survive nuclear Armageddon. I predict that they will excavate this place 12,000 years from now and they will find our Hobbit Hole. Our saddest losses, the orchard trees, you know, you work for years to nurture them. They're like your children, you know? We had 100 fruit and nut trees. We produced a couple thousand pounds of food from our orchard trees before the fire, but the thing was 60% of our trees were just coming into production. So we were just looking at thousands and thousands of pounds from our perennial fruit and nut trees, and then this happened. So we walked through the apple orchard last time. I really focused on apples here. They like the soils here and they store well in the winter. Yeah, well, there's an apple right there, huh? Mushy, smoky, dried up apple. So I've really focused on apples, but you can see, you know, that's the thing is the trunk didn't burn, but the heat was so strong that it just, you know, dried up all the leaves. And I'm hoping we're gonna prune, like there's a break, but here is rubbery. So I'm hoping that this will bud in the spring. So we're gonna prune back heavy and see what happens. Yeah, this was like a jungle before, remember? I had done such a good job of mulching this. It was such a healthy orchard terrace. And you know, you see here, the tree isn't burnt. It's still got some bend to it. I'm in the process. We go to the mill and we get our sawdust.
Oh, trying to get nutrients again.
Well, yeah, of course, it's got a lot of nutrients from the fire, but it doesn't have any carbon. So this winter, I'm gonna put as much mulch as I can.
And you see back there that there's a frame up. Is that something new? Is there something there?
A gal that donated the cabinetry had a geodesic dome in her backyard, and I said, well, our A-frame cabin used to be right there. And she said, maybe you could just take this and do something with it.
So you go from an A-frame to a geodesic dome.
Hopefully, we won't have the money to do that until next summer, maybe, but as we can, we'll rebuild.
Right.
This used to be our goat pen. The goat house burnt completely.
And the goats?
The goats, they all survived. They all did.
Wow.
They got out of their pen because when that building was on fire, it had to be crazy. It burnt their whole goat pen up. So they jumped, they had to be highly motivated, right? They jumped their fence that's kept them in for years. In fact, it was a dream come true for them because they got to eat from the garden. It's a goat's dream to just have their way with your garden. We came back 5 days later and there they are in the garden just as happy as ever. Not breathing very well.
And where are they now?
We rehomed them.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have the forage for them anymore. You'll see there's some grass in our immediate area, but we used to walk them in the forest and there was a lifetime worth of forage and it just doesn't exist now.
The understory's gone.
The understory is, mostly it was a ground fire. And so all of the goat forage, and at 35 bucks a bale, we just couldn't afford to keep them. Yeah. I still hope to get our goats back, maybe in the spring.
Maybe there'll be some green growing up, you mean in the...
Yeah.
Yeah, some more understory.
Yeah, if you look over here in our pasture, it looks completely unfazed. It was a real soft burn. We rebuilt our chicken coop. In fact, because we don't have goats, we doubled down on our chickens. We have 33 chickens now. Chickens are resilient and they just peck around and eat bugs, right?
Next on the list is getting some safety for the chickens. This is where it was. We had about 20 chickens and we're down to, I don't know, 6 or 7. Every night it seems predators get a chicken. I hear them. But they're roosting higher in the surviving oaks. They're adapting.
And chicken feed you can afford. It's not like goat.
Well, you don't really even have to give them chicken feed. They go out and eat bugs. They turn bugs into eggs.
So, and there's still bugs around.
There's always bugs. In fact, there was terrible bugs after the fire. Gnats. Apparently, gnats love fire.
It's this cycle that we don't know about. I mean, that's something that probably a long time ago we did know about. People knew. There were cycles that happened, right?
Well, it's interesting that well before, in the 1800s, the Native Americans, they burned in the spring and fall. Forests were patchy then. They managed the forest. And they didn't have big fires.
So ever since then, we've seen periods of just a lot of more fire.
Yeah, now when we get fires, they're big and they're uncontrollable. It makes you want to manage the forest in the spring and the fall. But it just did that for us, so we don't have to. Yeah.
Right.
Hey guys. Where are you?
Beautiful place here.
Well, thanks. Where are you staying?
We're in the solarium.
Oh, in the solarium. Oh, nice.
We wanted to find somewhere to stay that was kind of like camping, but maybe a little warmer.
Yeah. So that's what we say. We're just a step above camping. Yeah. And we live a notch above the Flintstones.
Exactly.
So you're still able to rent out some of the places?
Yeah. I mean, we tell people ahead of time, we had a fire, we give them a link so they can check out our updates. And they're still showing up.
Anything happen with your house?
But when we got the dogs, I quick set some sprinklers up to the left and the right of the cabin. And boy, everything around it was so burned, but it saved, I think it saved it. It was nice because all my clothes were there. I would have no clothes.
And no place to live, really.
And no place to sleep, right.
Yeah. Is this new? Because that looks surrounded by fire, this little hut down there.
Yeah, that was amazing. You can go over to that cabin and there were flames 15 to 20 feet up in the air all around that cabin. And I have no idea why that cabin did not burn to the ground. There's a metal roof. That probably was a saving factor. In fact, when I built our new community kitchen, we put a metal roof on it. And and it is really a relief that, well, not just here, anywhere on the West Coast, right? Everybody worries about fires. And so you worry about it every year, and we don't have to worry about fire anymore. Just think of all the good sleep I'll have,
You're going to keep building here, it looks like.
Well, You know, the concrete foundation to the building survived. So with the milled lumber, I set the beams down. I don't know that we're going to have the money for a while.
These are milled from the burnt forest. These are dead trees from the burn.
These are some of the dead trees. That was old dead maple.
Wow. It looks so good. It's just, you're right, like just the bark burns then.
Yeah, it is beautiful wood.
Yeah. Looks like the tree house didn't even get, even the stairs didn't, nothing, right?
Yeah, I could, nothing short of a miracle. You can see where the fire went all the way up to the floor of the tree house. See, the fire went right up to the base of the tree house.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Oh, wow, looking down there though, you see that this is all burnt.
We call this the sunny terrace. It's got pears and figs and kiwis. I don't know if the kiwis, we'll see. It's definitely, it's humbling to see 15 years worth of work go up in ashes, up in smoke, right? Yeah, this is a fig tree, and it got pretty burnt on the bottom, but...
You think it could recover like the other you have there?
I don't know. I don't know.
And those buds, seeds, whatever, those are just dead?
They're figs.
Yeah, those are figs?
Yeah, they're smoked figs. They're probably a delicacy somewhere. I have to admit, I had 2 dark days where I considered just joining the circus.
Just leaving it?
Yeah. And a friend of mine wrote me in a couple days later. He's the guy who's building a cabin here, and he said, "Hey Dan, I'm still moving up here. How about you?"
And you see the same foundation we saw last summer.
Yeah, it got a little bit charred, but you know, fortunately he set some gravel up here. He had a bunch of lumber that all burnt up, but the actual foundation survived the fire. And this is the lawn, this is the famous lawn chair. The tree's completely on fire. The bottom to his dog, it all burnt up. And the lawn chair survives the fire. That just cracks me up. One of our members is going to build a big deck and put a yurt on top of it. And
it's the whole thing. Oh no, I see the burnt.
Yeah, this is the only thing that got damaged. I think he has to replace this beam, probably from here to here, but otherwise intact.
You have new piping then?
Yeah, 1.5-inch poly pipe.
And that's all getting fed to the solarium?
To the solarium, yep. You can see what the piping looks like. I still haven't removed it all. 3 months later, we still have a lot. Cleaning up the rubble was it was an overwhelming task. The amount of rubble and pipe and batteries that melt, solar panels and filled trailers and trailers that we had to take to the landfill. Here's my 20th load of scrap metal. We spent $3,000 on landfill fees. Of course, you know, one of the great things about all of our stonework is they survive fires, right? And our root cellar, when I built the root cellar, I put a fire-rated door on it.
Because that could have been the...
It could have melted shut, but it didn't. In fact, it really wasn't even charred.
Yeah, it looks exactly the same, right?
Yeah, it's a little more organized.
So here you have a little nursery. Are these redwoods?
You know, a foundation. They sent us 150 redwood trees.
So in a way, you're going to have more resilient trees from this area. Like in the future, you think your forest is going to be healthier maybe?
It will be healthier for sure. I mean, fire's a natural part of the cycle, isn't it? These bracken ferns always die off in the summer. They're in the asparagus family, and so they're an edible plant, and we eat them every spring. But they die by summer. I've never seen these alive in November. I've never seen them alive in September. They just made a comeback. And so you'll see these bracken ferns everywhere.
Because there must be something in the soil after a fire that they like. They're reacting to something.
Google states that it's the extra nutrients in the soil from the burn. And they don't have any competition, so I'm leaving this tree here as our poster child. This was an apricot tree.
Is it gone, or are you still hoping it'll bud?
Oh, I cannot see that surviving. But that's the other thing, is that it's nice to give life a chance, right? Who knows? It could sucker from the roots in the spring. But you can see this is a charred piece of nothing of an oak, but the oaks will sucker again.
So they like the soil as well, I guess, huh?
In the scheme of things, the fire can be really good for the forest because there were too many conifers here. When the loggers log places like this, they leave the dug firs because that's lumber, right? That's the lumber you find in a hardware store. These kind of fires kill most of the conifers, and the hardwoods come back. It'll be the true state of the forest in years, of course. Well, right here, there's a madrone, and the entire stump, it's a charred black stump. And so it's already suckering, and the hardwoods will come back.
The amazing thing is that that's carbonized.
Yeah, as long as it wasn't a real hard burn, a crowning fire, I think most of the hardwoods, well, the maples are flourishing. Maybe they'll bud in the spring, I don't know. Here's another completely black tree. I doubt that it'll come back. But some did, like you can see this one over here. This one almost immediately, but it had a lot of protection. Almost immediately it started to leaf.
Wow, that's super hopeful.
Yeah, that's hopeful.
And this is kind of early to be putting up that much green, right?
In fact, we had our first frost today. I would think that most of these leaves, but the ones that survived have a certain vigor.
Are you hopeful about this place? Like Dan says he's looking at the greens and all that. Are you hopeful that it'll come back?
Oh, it's already coming back. It is back. I'm saying it is back. Nature is so forgiving, The most amazing things. There's a mama bee, a mother bee that has come to live in here too. So it's a beehive as well. I found her on the floor and I gave her some sugar water. She was just barely alive, and I just gave her sugar water, and then she slept in a plastic bag the other night, and now she leaves and comes.
You really coexist with everything. Mm-hmm. Not everyone wants to be in their bedroom.
No, she's beautiful.
I mean, bees are important. They're part of this.
Extremely important.
Yeah.
Where I was before, everyone sort of hires people to do everything. And, here we're just doing everything. It's hands-on, it's learning, it's like literally dance. Like if you make a mistake, it's just learning. I don't know, there's no pressure. And I think that's why everything is growing so beautifully too.
And the garden just continues through winter, or does it go dormant? What do you do with the garden?
Well, there are some winter crops, but certainly greens are something we produce through the winter.
Even with the frost?
Yeah. We actually, we had one of our apple trees completely survived, and it was full of apples. And they were kind of, the smoke was so thick, you literally couldn't see 100 feet. It looked like Mars here. All the apples had a smoky flavor. This is our apple tree that was unscathed. All of our smoky apples from it. Ooh, there's still, hey, the last one.
No.
Oh, it's not very good though. Well, This one's mushy. Oh, there it is right there. And it looks like a good one. Let's get it. I'm really looking forward to the spring like never before, because I'm hoping that, well, we had such a tremendous food source with fruit and nut trees. There it is. It was a true permaculture system in that it was perennial based. Ah, there it is.
Oh my gosh. That's crunchy.
A hint of smokiness. It's a good apple.
Yeah.
I think it's the last one.